Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett is here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. Now this tutorial I'm making for IGCSE students, in particular those students who are going to be taking the Information Communication Technology paper, the 0417 paper, and I'm going to be solving the 2023 paper 2-1. Now paper 2, it has proven to be a very big paper. There's just so much work to do in a short amount of time. We've only got 2 hours and 15 minutes. Paper 3 is the same amount of time, but there's less work. There's more thinking involved in paper 3. So if you ask me, paper 2 is probably an easier paper, providing you time yourself and just keep a track of the time. So saying that, let's get started with solving this paper. Okay, so first step, let's have a look at our paper. And it starts off with asking us to make sure we've been supplied with the following source files. So you should have been supplied with these source files, and the most important thing right now is to make sure you have all of those source files placed in a single folder where you're going to save all of your work. You need to make sure absolutely everything is saved in one folder. It just makes backup so much easier. So I've got all my files here in this folder here when I open it up, and I can easily just check that I've got these files here over here. I've also got my question in here because I like looking at my question paper digitally instead of on paper. Okay, for you, it will probably be different. You probably prefer a paper version of the question paper because you probably don't have multiple monitors. Okay, so let's go back to our question paper. The next thing that we need to do is just to have a look at this. Now, whenever you're going to be reading a task, make sure you read the entire task. So I'm going to read all of this first. I'm not going to start reading and working because if I read the entire task, it gives me a mental image of what it is that I want to be doing. And then as I'm going to be doing the skills it's asking me to show, I know exactly what's coming next. So the first thing I want to do is just to open this J2321 evidence folder. Make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. It doesn't say where, so I can use the header or the footer section here. Save this document in your work area as evidence followed by your candidate number. So it's going to look something like that. And you will need your evidence. So let's just go ahead and do this part first. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm opening J2321 evidence. Here it is here. I'm going to just place my details in the header section. 127 is my center number. I'm just going to use 1234 for my candidate number. Now, I'm not going to show you anything about headers and footers right now because we're going to see that in the document we're going to be working on. So I've done this. Next step, I need to save. I'm just going to double click in this area to come out the header and footer. File, save as. Now I need to make sure I'm saving as a Word document because this is the software I'm using. And I'm going to change that to evidence and 1234, which is my candidate number, and click on save. Okay, perfect. I have that. And now I'm going to go back to my question paper. So I'm just going to minimize that. I'm going to use that whenever I need it and just jump over here. Okay, so the next part is, now again, I'm going to read all of this section here first. So it says here, you're going to edit the document for Tawara Cycling Festival. The company uses a corporate house style for all their documents. Paragraph styles must be created and applied as instructed. Okay, so number one, using suitable software, open this file. The page setup is A4 portrait orientation with 2 centimeter margins. Do not make any changes to these settings. So this basically tells me that this has already been set up for me, the A4. I just need to double check that it's correct. 3 paragraph styles have already been created. Do not make any changes to these unless instructed. Save the document in your work area with the file name festival. Okay, make sure that it is saved in the format of the software you're using. Place in the evidence document a screenshot to show this file has been saved. Make sure that there is evidence of the file type. So let's go and do this part now. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm opening J2321 festival. There it is there. And I'm just going to double check what it said. So it says it's got, I'm going to check the margins. So I'm going to go to my layout section up here. And I'm going to go to page setup. I'm just going to have a quick look at this. And there you go. Top, left, bottom, and right margins are 2 centimeters. The paper is actually A4. So that's correct, what they told me is there. They said some house styles have already been created, 3 of them. Here are the house styles. I can see them: CF body, CF subhead, and CF table. If I click on the manage here, I can actually see these here as well. Great, so that's all being set up for me. All I have to do now is just save this as festival. So file, save as. Now, because I'm going to be saving in the same location where the file is, I don't really have to worry about telling it where to save. So I'm just going to call that festival. I'm going to type it with capital letters because that's how it displays it. Make sure it's a Word document and save. All right. And then the next step, it said make sure that you want to add a screenshot. So I'm just going to minimize that, minimize that. So here's my screenshot. Here's my file, my festival document. Where is it? Let's just have a quick. Here it is here. So I need to show that this here has been saved in the format of my software. Now, if you don't have the extensions being displayed in Windows Explorer, then you can actually do this. Just go to the view, details, small icon. Let's go to details. There you go. Details is a good one here, because it will actually say it's a Microsoft Word document. So I'm going to take a quick screenshot of that using my snipping tool. Here it is here, new. And I don't need to take too much. I'm just going to take that there and go put that in my evidence document. And that's step 1. Now, my one's in dark mode. I don't suggest you use dark mode because when it prints, it doesn't print too well. Okay, so let's move on. So we're going to go back to our document. All right, let's go to the question paper now. So we've done number 1. Let's move down to number 2. So again, I'm going to read this whole section. Place in the header of the festival document your name, center number, candidate number right aligned. Place in the footer automated page numbers left aligned. Make sure that all alignments match the page margins. No other text or placeholders are included in the header or footer areas. The headers and footers are displayed on all pages. So I'm going to be explaining all of this while I'm doing it. So let's go back here. So the first thing is I want to place in the header center number, candidate number, right aligned. So I'm going to double click in the header section up here, and it says right aligned only. I don't really need to worry too much about this, but I am going to do this. As soon as I go into the header section, I do see the header and footer ribbon. I can go to header, and I always tell my students, use this one here, which gives you the 3 placeholders, and this allows you to give to type something in the left, the center, and the right of the header. So I'm just going to type my information here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's on the right. Now it specifically said do not have any other placeholders included. So I need to remove this. So I'm going to select that and press delete, select that and press delete. Okay, so that's basically what it was saying about those placeholders. Then in the footer, I want automated page numbers on the left. The numbers left aligned. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to click in the footer. And again, while I'm in the header and footer section in the ribbon, I can see here I've got page number. Again, I can choose my bottom of page and choose this one here. Okay, and that will do. All right, so what does it say in the footer? Automated page numbers left aligned. Right, make sure all alignments match the page margins. So it is actually following that, because if I just go to view, let me see if I can do this properly for you. So if I go and show my ruler, actually that's in the draw section. So I'm going to get this ruler. I'm just going to change this to, click on this, change this so it's straight, so I can just demonstrate for you. So you can see that here, my number 1 here is in line with the page margin of this text here. And if I go to the top, there you go, that header is in line with the margin of the text. And that's basically what it's saying. Okay, great. So we've done that. Let's go back to the question paper. Okay, it says create and store the following style, basing it on the default. Now, this is really important. Default paragraph style. Okay, so we need to create this style. CF title. I need a serif font, size 32, center aligned. The enhancement is bold and italic, single line spacing, no space before, and 9-point space after. Take a screenshot to show that you've define the settings for CF title style. Make sure that there is evidence that you have based this on default normal paragraph style. Place this in your evidence document. Okay, now when you're working with styles, it really does get a little bit fiddly. So I just want to explain this to you first. I'm just going to read number 4 here. It says, apply the CF title style. This is the one that we've just created to the title Tawara Cycling Festival. So let's go back. All right, so how does this work? When I go to create a new style, so I'm going to go to the home section, the home ribbon, and here are my styles. I'm going to click on manage styles here, and I can actually add a new style. Now, depending on where your insertion point is, so if I've got my insertion point here, for example, where it says the trails, as soon as I click a new style, you can see it's saying it's basing, the style is based on CF subhead. And that's because this thing here has already been formatted to CF subhead. We can see this up here. If my insertion point is in this paragraph and I click on add style, it's basing it on CF body because this has been formatted as CF body. And not only that, when I actually go and create my new style, and you're going to see this in a second, wherever my insertion point is, so if I'm in this area here, this whole paragraph will take on the style which I create because my insertion point is there. So be very careful with this. So what I'm going to do, because I know I'm going to be formatting this with the new style that I'm making, I'm just going to put my insertion point here at the beginning of this line here. All right. Next step, I'm going to go and create my style. It's actually called CF title, CF minus sign, and then title small letters. Make sure you type these exactly as they're given. Now, style based on, I'm going to put no style. Okay, so no style there. You can use a normal paragraph one somewhere down here, but I always prefer the no style because that basically means there is no style associated with this. So you can use normal if you want, but I prefer using, so you can choose that one. Let's just leave it there since it says paragraph or normal. That's exactly the same. All right, so first I want a serif font. Serif font is Times New Roman. And then I want the size to be 32. 32 doesn't exist there. It's got 30. So I'm going to choose 30. Just type in 32 there. Bold, I want it center aligned, bold and italic, single line spacing. So now I need to go into the paragraph section. So I'm going to go to format, paragraph, and I'm going to choose here single line spacing. There it is there. And I want 0 line spacing before and after. So 0 and 0. So that's all okay. I don't want that on auto. Click on OK. All right, and now. Oh, sorry, I want spacing after 9 points, my bad. So spacing, so paragraph, spacing on the after, I want that on 9. So let's just change that to 9 point spacing and click OK. And you can see here in this information here, all of the settings that have changed are there. Now I'm going to click on OK and look what happens. As soon as I click on OK, where my insertion point is right here at the beginning of the title, all of that paragraph is going to change. There you go. So if my insertion point was here in the trails subheading, that subheading will change. And I would have to go back and change it back to CF subheading, which is what it was. So be a little bit careful about this. Okay, so I want a screenshot to show that I've done that. So I'm going to go in my style. So if you don't have this open, I'm going to go back to my style manager here. I'm going to go here where my CF title is. I'm going to actually click on this little arrow here. And I'm going to modify. There it is there. Take a screenshot. Go to my evidence document and place, just close that dialog box first and close that one, don't need it. Now I can go to my evidence document and place that here. Now okay, that's a bit big. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Don't make them too small. You just want these comfortable enough for the examiner to be able to read. I'm just going to click on save there. Minimize that. I'm going to click save there as well. Back to the question paper. Okay, so we've done numbers 3 and 4. Change the page layout. So the subheading, so the trails, that subheading there, and the following text up to and including the paragraph ending their equipment is safe is displayed in 2 columns of equal width with a 1.5 centimeter space between the columns. Okay, so that's number 5. Let's go and do that. So I want from here, so I'm just going to select a little bit of that, go down and I want where the paragraph ends, their equipment is safe. Here it is. And I'm going to hold the shift button down and click here. Okay, so using the shift button and click, I can select everything in between those two areas. And I want to make this 2 paragraphs. I'm going to go to my layout, go to columns, more columns. I'm not going to choose 2. I'm going to go to more columns because here I can set the space to 1.5. Oops, sorry, spacing. Right, we'll just cancel that. The columns, more columns, and I want the spacing to be 2 columns, 1.5. There. And the widths of those columns are going to adjust automatically. If I wanted a line in between the 2 columns, I just click on this, and you can see here in the preview, it'll put that line. It didn't ask for that, so I'm going to get rid of it and click OK. There we go. So since I've done this now, I'm going to do a quick save again. Okay, now it says import the image J2321 rider JPEG and place it in the paragraph beginning, all trails start and finish. So if I look a bit further, it says reflect the image so that the bike points to the left. Format the image so that it is resized to a width of 4 centimeters with the aspect ratio maintained. It's aligned to the left column and the top of the paragraph starting all trails and finish. So it's aligned to the left column margin. All right, so let's start with this here. The text wraps around the image. All right, so let's begin. First step is I need to go and find that picture. So I'm going to go to insert. So first of all, I'm going to click inside this paragraph here, anywhere in here, doesn't matter, or in my document. I'm going to go to insert. Let's go to pictures. Okay, so on this device, I've got my folder on the desktop. Click on insert, and there's my picture. So the first thing it said is to make sure the biker, modify it, rotate it so the biker is going to the left, not the right. So let's do that. So with my picture selected, as soon as I click on my picture, you're going to see up here the picture ribbon. So here's my picture format ribbon, and then from here I can actually rotate this. So here's my rotator button, and I'm going to flip this horizontal. The good thing with this, you can just move your mouse over and you can see what it looks like. And that's the one I want to make the cyclist face to the left. Now I want to make the width 4 centimeters, maintaining the aspect ratio. Now that basically means you can't do this. If I do that and I move this so it's about 4 centimeters based on my ruler, which is going to be, let's say, there, then my aspect ratio has been destroyed because I've squashed my image. So I'm just going to undo that. The way to do this is with the picture selected, go at the top here, change that to 4 centimeters, and the height, as soon as you click away, will automatically adjust to maintain the aspect ratio. Now, the next thing is I want to move my picture down. So it says it's aligned to the left column margin at the top, starting all trails start and finish. So that's this paragraph here. So I need to move it down. So I'm going to select my picture, go to the picture format, go to the text wrap, make this tight, and now I can move this down here. And again, I need to make sure that my picture is in line with the left margin here, as you can see. So if I just bring in my ruler again, there it is, you can see that's in line with the margin on the left, and it's also in line with that top margin of that paragraph, and that's what they're looking for. Okay, so if your picture was like this, you would lose marks. If your picture is like this, you would lose marks because it's not in line with the, if it's like this, you would lose marks. Okay, so you need to make sure it's in that paragraph, in line with the top and the left margin. Okay, quick save. Go back to the question paper. So the text wraps around the image, we've done that as well. Okay, go down, number 9. Apply bullets to the text from bike, handling for children, yoga for cyclists. Okay. So we need to go find that. And then it says the bullets are indented 1.5 centimeters. The list is in single line spacing with no space before or after each line. There is a 6-point space after the last item. Now they're coming up with this quite oftenly in these past papers now, in these exam papers. So let's go have a look and see how we do this. So I'm going to go find my list. Here's my list. So from bike handling, from here, I'm just going to select. So you always have to select, then do. Now I'm going to apply bullets. I'm going to go to the home ribbon. I'm going to go to bullets. My bullets have been added. Now, first step, I'm going to remove the line spacing. So I'm going to go to paragraph, open the dialog box for paragraph, and I'm going just to make sure the spacing here is single, before and after is 0. So there you go, no line spacing. The next thing, I want to bring in these bullets indented to 1.5. Now you can do it this way as well, but it's not accurate. I just want to show you how these tabs at the top work. So these little triangular tabs, when I click on, if I select this list, this little triangle here will adjust the distance of the text from the bullet. I'll do. This one moves the bullets. Do. This one here with the, on the right hand side with the little rectangle at the bottom, if you take the rectangle, it moves everything. So if I move that so that the bullet is round about here where the 1.5 is, that will do fine, because they're not going to measure it exactly with the ruler. However, the correct way is, with your bulleted list selected, go to paragraph, up here where you've got your indents and line spacing, do the left indentation to 1.5. That's what it wanted. Yep, click OK. And you can see now that arrow here for that bullet is right on the 1.5 centimeter indent. Perfect. Let's go to the question paper. So locate the table in the document, delete the entire column and contents with the heading lunch. And then format the left column, so that's this one here in black, of the table, so that it looks like the left column of this table. Okay, so I want to do 10 and 11 now. Let's go back. Let's go find that table. Here it is here. Okay, so if I click anywhere inside the table, I can see the sizing tab here for the table. If I click here, I can actually select my table. Now, here's something I always do without even knowing whether I have to add the borders or not. I add borders. And if it tells me not to have borders, then I remove them at the end. I add the borders because this helps me see what's happening with this table. I can see if any columns or rows, or sorry, if any cells are merged together, if I've got any hidden rows there. It just really helps me visualize this table. So I'm just going to add the borders first. Now I want to delete this column here. There's a number of ways that you can do this. So as soon as you click inside the table, you're going to see at the top the table design and the layout ribbons. If I click away, those vanish. Click inside here, they are there. So if I now go to my layout of the table, I can now come over here and I can delete column. It's going to delete the column of where my insertion point is. So if my insertion point is here, that will delete that column. And just demonstrate, delete column, undo. The other way is you can place your mouse right on the top of the column, for example, there, select it, and you can right click, delete columns. That would also work. Okay, so there's a number of other ways as well. You can just simply select the cell, right click, and you can go to delete cells, and then it will tell you what do you want to delete entire column or row. So that will work. So let's just do this, delete entire column, click OK. So any one of those methods will work just fine. So next I want to make my my left column look like this. So very important we look at the details. Our text is vertical, and we're reading from bottom to top instead of top to bottom, and it's center aligned horizontally and vertically. So let's just go and do that. So first thing I need to do, and this really helps me because I've got these borders visible, I'm going to select all of this and I'm going to merge the cells together. Sorry, go to layout. So I'm going to merge these cells first, and then I've got here my text direction. And if I click on this and keep clicking on it, I can choose different styles. Can you see? So I want this one where I'm reading from top to bottom, whereas this one I'm reading from, from bottom to top. This one I'm reading from top to bottom, so I want that one. Next, I want to align vertically and horizontally, so that's this one here in my alignment, that one there. I don't want this one, I don't want that one, I don't want that one. You can see these, not going to put it in the middle, I want that one there. Now, with my, if I click inside this cell here, I can now modify. If I go to my table design, I can change the shading and turn that black. That will automatically change the text to white. But if it doesn't, you can just select the text, go to the home button and just change that text value here to wide. So if it doesn't change it for you, then you can actually change it. Where am I? Okay, so good. Let's click away there. Now then, I think I'm pretty good there. Is that looks fine? Anything else? So I've done that. Everything looks okay. I just need to read the rest of it now. So make sure that all text of each row displays on one line. Okay, let's go have a look. So here I can see I've got some text wrapping. So I'm just going to move my mouse to stretch this out a little bit and make sure all of this text, let's just do the first column first. There. The fee is okay, and I just need to adjust that one. There we go. So I don't have any text wrapping on any of the lines, but at the same time, my table is within the column margins. Very important. Okay, going back. 1 point black. Oh, there you go. I do have to put external grid lines. It has to be 1 point black. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select my table by clicking on that little selection button there. And I get this little quick format here. I can use this if I like. I'm going to go to here and I can go to borders and shading. Go to my borders. So I'm using a single line. I'm doing all of the borders, top, left, right, center, everything. I'm going to change the width of that line to 1 point and click OK. There we go. So that's got 1 point. Next, the table borders fit all the data within the column. We've done that. There is a 6 point space after the table. Okay, so here's the tricky thing. So we can see here, there is no space after this table and this next paragraph. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click anywhere in this paragraph, even just at the beginning or just to select a little bit. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the paragraph settings and I want to put a 6 point space before that paragraph. So before this paragraph, there's going to be a 6 point space. Click OK. There you go. So I've just made my little space there. Okay, let's go to the next one. It says locate the text star new in the table and format it to be superscript so that it looks like this. Okay, so we're going to select star new. We're going to go to the home ribbon and here you will see the subscript and the superscript. There it is. You can see like the X squared thing. So if I click on that now, whatever is selected is now superscripted there. Perfect. Okay, is there anything that I've missed out on here? I don't think so. Oh, I have. Let's have a look. Have a look here. I didn't apply the CF table style to columns 2, 3, and 4. So I need to do that now. So I'm going to select columns 2, 3, and 4 like that. And I'm going to put my CF table style. There it is. Okay, that looks better. And that actually makes sense because if we look at this one that we just did now with the superscript, if we look at the question paper, it actually displays it with that italic tilted font there. Okay, so I think I've done everything there. Yeah, perfect. All right, let's go back. Move on. So spell check and proofread the document. Make sure that the list and tables are not split over 2 columns or pages. So if we have a look, I'm just going to zoom out to do this. It's a bit easier. And I can see my table and my list is not split over 2 columns. So that's good. There are no widows or orphans. So again, I don't have any widows or orphans. Now, this paragraph here actually goes across pages, but there's a lot of text here. So that's not considered as an orphan. And this paragraph has got 2.5 lines here. You could, if you want, but there's really no need. Bring this paragraph down so it doesn't split, but there's really no need. I don't like that. If it was only just the one word, just the word event here, that was on the other page, then I would move that paragraph down. There are no blank pages. The original stars are maintained. All stars are applied consistently. Spacing is consistent between all items. Now, saying that, I've got a little feeling that I might have forgotten something here, and I think I have. Let me just have a look. Let's go back to the... There you go. So on the list, I was supposed to put the 6 point space after the last item, and I didn't. Can you see? So here's my last item. So lucky I remembered that. There's my last item here. And this is where you have to go back. So where it tells you to double check your spacing is consistent, so and so, do that. Go back and check everything you were supposed to do. So for here, I can see there's no space. Now I need to put again a 6-point space like I did after for the table. Now I can do this by selecting this line here. I'm going to do this both ways and doing the spacing after 6 points. There you go. That's for my 6-point space. Or I can do that by selecting anywhere in this paragraph here and put in the 6-point space before. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. Makes no difference. I've just got that 6-point space there. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom out again and just have a look at my document and make sure everything looks good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to do a quick save there. Let's go back to my question paper, see if I've forgotten anything. Have I forgotten any screenshots? I have forgotten a screenshot, haven't I? Yes, this one here. So where I created my style, I didn't take my, oh, did I? I think I did. Yep. So I've got step 1, I've got my evidence. Is there anything else? I've got a feeling I have forgotten something. Format that. Okay, well, I'm going to go have a look and just do a quick double check. If I go down and see what my next evidence is, that's going to be number 15. If I go to my evidence document, and this is a way to check. Yes. Okay, so the next screenshot is evidence 15. So I haven't forgotten any screenshot. That's perfect. So I'm doing this in real time, guys. So you're going to see how you should work in the actual exam. Okay, so going back to my question paper, I finished with my document. Make sure you print the document. I'm not going to print this now, but you would just go to File, Print, and choose your printer and just print that off and save it. So now I can save this document and I can close that document. I can save this one. I'll save that one and close that one. I actually want my evidence document for later, so I'm going to open it up and leave that there. Okay, so question paper. Next section, databases. Okay, so databases, be very, very, methodical about what you're doing. The concept is always going to be the same. You're going to have to import some data. You're going to have to modify the data types. You're going to have to choose or select the primary key, so on and so forth. So just take your time to make sure you do all of those steps. So let's have a look. You're going to prepare some reports. Examine the file that 2321 results and identify the most appropriate field to set as the primary key. That is new. And then it says close the file. Well, yeah, because then you can't import it. Using database software, import the file. That one. So first thing that we need to do is to go and find that file, open it. Let's have a look at it. Now be very careful here, because when I open this, I want to make sure I'm opening this in Excel. I don't want to make any changes, and if I do make any changes, I don't want to save them, because that could affect the way the data is imported into a table in Access. So here's my data. I'm actually going to modify it a bit. I'm going to select everything, double click between 2 columns so I can see all of the data. And now I need to identify which one of these columns is ideal or is the only one that I can use as a primary key. Now the primary key field means that you cannot have the same item twice or a duplicate in that column because then it wouldn't be unique. Now straight away you see this word here, start code. And you will think, well, maybe that is the primary key. Don't be fooled, because I've already spotted 2 of them which are exactly the same. There you go. So how can you make sure you choose the right one? It could actually be the race time. It's going to be really hard going through all of these race times here to see whether there's a duplicate. So I'm going to show you how you can do this in Excel. Now, your ICT students, you're going to be assessed on Excel, so you should know how to do this. So I'm going to select all of my data from here, all the way down to the bottom. Let's go back. So the first one, go down to the bottom. And now I'm going to hold the shift button down and click that last one. And that's going to select all my data. And the reason I'm going to do this is I'm going to apply conditional formatting. So I'm going to go to my conditional formatting. I'm going to go to new rule. And I'm going to choose format. This one, format only unique or duplicate values. So I want to find all the ones which are duplicate. The idea is if a column has got a duplicate in, it will be highlighted. If it doesn't, nothing will be highlighted. So I'm going to go to format. I'm going to highlight a fill color with, let's say, a blue color if there's a duplicate. Click OK and OK. So let's have a look. So straight away we can see the start code, all of this is blue, so that means all of these are duplicated values. That's no good. The last name is unique, but these two are duplicates. This one here, first name, again, I've got a duplicate. The race number looks like, or the race number, the race time are the only ones right now that don't have a blue. So I'm going to scroll down. Oh, there you go. Can you see that the race time has got duplicates in here? And there. So the only one here that doesn't have any duplicates, there you go, is this column D. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Perfect. That's my primary key, guys. There are no duplicates in this column, column D. Perfect. So now I'm going to close Excel. I want to make sure race number, that's my duplicate, my primary key, sorry. So I'm going to close Excel. I'm not going to save anything. And now go back to my question paper, and it says, using database software, import that file, use these field names and data types. Set the identified field as a primary key. Now, we said, I'm just going to highlight here, my race number was my primary key field. So I've just highlighted that on my question paper so I don't forget. But I'm going to right click in this area here. I'm going to go to new. I'm going to go to Microsoft Access Database. And it's going to ask me where I'm going to save this. I'm just going to go to my desktop. There's my folder, and I'm going to click create. Now you can give this a name. I'm going to call this, let's say, NP CY127 1234. So it's my initials, center number, and candidate number. You don't have to, it doesn't ask you to, but it just makes sure if I do take any screenshots of my file, that's evidence this is my work. Now from here I now need to import my file. So I'm going to go to external data, new data source, from file, text file. I'm going to go to browse, go find my folder. So it's on the desktop. Here it is here. And I want to import the J2321 results, this one here. Now, I'm importing as a new table. I'm not going to add this data into or link it to any other table. So I'm going to click on OK. Now, you should be able to see the data like this. If you get something which you can't read, all these wingdings, something's wrong, or your file is corrupt, make sure you raise your hand and tell your teacher. So that looks good. The delimited characters is a comma. Next. First row contains field names, yes, because the first row is actually titles, it's headings, it's my field names, it's not data. Next. From here, I'm going to check my data type. So I'm going to go to the advanced. Instead of clicking on them one by one, I'd rather go to advanced because that actually makes it look similar to what we have in our question paper over here. And I can compare the two. So all of these here are text. My race number is a number, 0 decimal places. So I'm going to use integer for that. Integer for that. Number, integer for that. These are integers and these are integers because it doesn't want any decimal places. And if I go back, I can also see that these are actually just whole numbers. All right, so let's begin. So these are text, text, text. Race number is a long integer. I'm going to leave it as long integer. Now, the difference between integer and long integer is that an integer field can only hold numbers between plus and minus 32,000. So if you try to put a number like, say, 364,000, you'd get an error because that number can't fit in the cell. Okay, so it doesn't ask you to use long or integers or long integers. So to be safe, always use a long integer because you may not see all of the, you're not going to be able to see all of the data that they're going to put in. So long integer. Then I want club name and cat code is text. Club name, cat code is text. Then I want year of YOB. I'm not sure what that is, probably year of bike or something. And it wants number, integer again. Okay. And then the race time, I want date time in hours. So if we have a look at that. Okay, so you can see here it wants it as hours, minutes, seconds. So let's go back. So that's the race time here. I'm going to click on that date with time. I'm just going to leave it there and I'm going to modify it later. And then event rank and cat rank number. So integer, no decimal places. Click OK. Next, choose my own primary key. Yes, not the start code. We want the race number. So this is our unique field, so it's the primary key, and click on finish. Now, if all goes well, you should just see, close that, you should just see one file that looks like this. If you see two files, or you see an icon which is different with an arrow, which means it's linked it to something, or anything like that, that means you've done it wrong. Delete it, start again, and just double check your work. Okay, so let's go to the question paper. So I've identified my primary key. Now, what I need to do is just go and modify these data types. So let's just go have a look at them. I'm going to open my table. I'm going to go to my home. I'm going to go to design view. Now you can use the design view down here at the bottom and the normal view, but I like using it from the home button. So I want to make sure these are correct. The only one that I need to check to read these numbers, there you go, is long integer. And this date time here, because I need to set the format. So the format said it should be hours, minutes, seconds. So I'm going to go down here, select the date time for race time, go to format, click on that. And I want this one here, long time, because can you see it's displaying 1734.23. That's the long time format. And I'm just going to click on save there. Okay, and then it says place in the evidence document screenshot showing all the field names and data types and the primary key. So from here now, I'm going to take my screenshot. Yeah. Now I need to take a screenshot with my file name at the top. So I don't need any more than that, but I need to show all of that. And essentially, it also shows me my primary key. Now, this isn't going to fit down. I'm going to move all of this down here because I've started access. Make this easier for the examiners. Don't make their lives difficult. Be nice to them. Okay, so evidence 15 is on database. So I'm going to place that there. That's good enough. And you can see it shows the little key here saying that's my primary key, my data types, and the name of the file. Just give a bit of space there to make it a bit easier. Okay. Okay, I can close this one now. Let's go to the next one. So that's finished. 16. Import the file J2321 start time CSV as a new table in your database. Use these field names and data types. Okay, so again, I've got this date time thing here. So let's go back. Set the group code. So here it gives you the primary key. And placing your evidence document showing the field name. So I've got to show evidence again. So let's go back. Again, external data, new data source from file, text file. And this time I'm going to go to browse. And I want start times, that one there. Now you can see I've got three options here now. I've got three options because I've already got the table. And you may want to add the data which you're importing into an existing table. We don't. We just want to import it as a new table. So just leave that selection there, go to OK. Again, double check this data, make sure it's readable. It is. First row contains field names. It is. Those are my field names. I don't have a different text qualifier, so it's always comma. So just leave that there. Go next. Click on advanced to check the data types. So I want all of these to be text except this one, which is date with time, and it is. Click OK. Next. And the primary key, it says, should be the group code. There we go. And I can click on next and finish. Close. Again, I want to open this up, go to my design view, and just check this format here for date and time, and change that again to long time, that one there. Okay. And since I'm here, I can also take a screenshot. Again, showing the file name, the table name. There you go. Now I can click on close that. Don't want to save yes. Go and add that screenshot in my evidence document. There you go, number 16. Down a bit. There it is. Okay. So let's go back. Question paper. So I've done this. I've displayed it, formatted it like that. Next one, import. Oh, there's another one, 3 tables. Okay. 2321 cat codes. I set all data types to text and the cat code as the primary key. Again, place evidence. All right, let's go back. Database. Create. Oh, sorry, external data, new from file, text file. Again, I'm going to find my file. I want the cat codes. There we go. Click OK because I'm importing as a new table. Delimited, so I can see the data, it's readable. The first row is field names, go to next, check advanced to see here I'm using all short text. Now the difference between short text and long text, if you see here you've got like paragraphs of text in the field that you want to use long text. Short text can only fit 256 characters. So unless you can see like paragraphs or the field name is something like description, there's a lot of text there, always use short text. Click OK, next. Primary key is the cat code, so that one there, and then next and finish. And there's nothing here to format, so I just need to open this home design view. I don't need to, oh hang on, what do we have here? Data types and primary keys. So cat codes, sorry, wrong one. See, immediately got confused there. I was a bit rushed. So I did this one here. So I'll go to design view, and all of these are short text. I just need to take a screenshot of that. I don't need to modify any of that data and go add that in here, number 17. Perfect. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got evidence of my three tables. So J2321 results, start times, and cat codes. Students have in the past taken the same table, taken the screenshot of the same table 2 times, and they've lost marks. So just make sure, double check what you're doing. Okay, let's go back to my question paper. Right, create one-to-many relationships as links between the group code field in start times table and the start code field in the results table. Okay, and then because I've got 3 tables, I want the cat code field in the cat codes table and the cat code field in the results table, and place evidence in your evidence document. Okay, let's go back. So for here, I'm going to close this. That's finished. So let's create relationships. So for that, I'm going to go to database tools and I'm going to click on relationships. Now you can see here automatically there are some default settings here, some default relationships. You don't need to worry about these. You can just totally ignore them. What I do, I just move down to an area at the bottom. These are default links for the navigation panes for these tables that you've made. So I'm just going to go down. They're not going to affect your work at all. Okay, and basically what you want to do, you want to add your 3 tables. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go to show table. I can see the 3 tables. I'm going to double click so I can add each one. Okay, and you can see I haven't removed the other one. They're just up here. We're just not going to include them in the screen view. Okay, I'm going to expand this so I can see all of these here. Good. Now then, I want the group code field in start table. So this one here with the start code field in results table. So I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to go to the start code over here. I'm going to drag and let go on top of it. And it's going to double check with me if this is what I want to do. So I've got my group code in start times table and the start code in results table. Yes, create. You can't take a screenshot of this because this means you haven't created the relationship yet. So I'm going to click on create and there's my relationship. And then I want the cat code field in cat codes table. So that one with the cat code in results table. So that's going to be with the cat code here. So I'm going to click on this one, hold, drag, drop it on top, and then click create. Now, you can take a screenshot of this window here as evidence of your relationships. But be very careful. If you do, if this table here is like this, you can't see, or the examiner won't be able to see that this is linked to cat code, so you will lose the marks. So make sure this is expanded. What I tell my students to do is always use the dialog box. So to do that, I'm going to take a screenshot of the first one. I'm going to click one time to select this line, make sure I'm on the line, and then double click on that line. That opens this. I'm going to place this here, or like that. That's okay. And I'm going to take a screenshot like this. Now you can just take a screenshot of that area there, but I'm going to take all of this. So that shows both windows. And go put this in my evidence. Now this at the end, I'm going to move this down. Make sure the headings match your screenshots. Okay, now just make that just a tad bit smaller. That'll do. As long as it's readable. I could just take that window here, but I'm going to take both of them. Click OK. And now I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to click one time and then double click, place this window over here. And I'm going to take a screenshot of that. So either one of these on their own, the visual or the dialog box, either one is okay. But if you take both of them, that's even better. I'm going to add that there. Again, a bit big. Let's just make it just a tad small, but make sure it's easily readable. And I'm going to move that down to the next page. There we go. Okay, so there's my screenshots. I'm going to click on save, go back, and from here I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to, that's all done. I'm going to click on save. I can close my relationships, and that's, I've created my 3 tables and I've created the relationships. Okay, next part is add the following as a new record in the results table. Now, when you're adding records, unless you're specifically told to create a data entry form, you don't have to, but I always get my students to always create a data entry form so that they can keep practicing data entry forms. So I'm going to do this. So I want this to be saved in a new record in the results table. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to open up my, I'm going to go to create. I'm going to go to create a form wizard. I'm going to choose the table I want. So that's going to be the results table. Here are all the fields. I want to add all of these and then simply click finish. And that's it. I've made a quick data entry form. But the other thing you need to be able to do in case you are asked to make a data entry form, you need to make it user friendly. So I'm going to show you the quick techniques you're going to do for that. So I'm going to go to design view. I'm going to select all of these really long entries here and just make those a bit smaller because those are a little bit too big. You would adjust each one of them to be an appropriate size. I'm not going to bother with that now. I'm going to add some buttons. So I'm going to click on my button from here in the form design, draw a button there. I'm going to do one which is going to be for record operation, add new record, text, add record finish. So there's my add record button. I'm going to make one for view next record. So preview, go to next record, next, make it text. Text is always better, I think, than icons. It just makes it easier for someone who may be visually impaired or, oh, that, I just made the wrong one. I made a text box there. I want a button. It just, if someone doesn't recognize what the symbols are, just so much easier with text. Click on text and then finish. So I've made my button. I'm just going to select these to make sure they're aligned properly. So I can go to arrange here. I can go to align to the left, and I can also do the size, the vertical size equal vertical, and that just makes sure all of them have got this nice space. At the top, you're going to put an appropriate title. Again, you don't have to do this right now. You haven't been asked to. I'm just demonstrating this so you can have a complete tutorial here. So data entry form for, I don't know, races, whatever this is. Okay, and then that's it. I can now go to home and go to view. There's my data entry form. I can click the save. My form is here. So I want to add a new record. I'm going to click on add record. Makes it so much easier to add information in now. See that? 06. Make sure you add the information exactly as it's written. Small letters, capital letters. That's Basil. And then I've got race number 1203, 1203. Club name, Power Cycles. Power Cycles. You can see my typing is not the best. Okay, and C5. YOB is 1992. Race time is 012513. So 01:2513. And then we've got status fin in capitals, event rank 122, and then cat rank 68. Okay, and then just go to next record. That's been added. So I'm going to close that now. I didn't need to do that, as I said, but I wanted to do that just so I can demonstrate how you can do data entry forms. So if I open my results table now, and I should be able to find my my race number 1203. So let's go down because it's in order of that. 1, 2, there it is here. There's the record I just added and it's correct. So that's fine. Okay, so here we need to create our query. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to read this very carefully, identify the fields that we want to include, see any criteria, see if we need to create any new fields which are going to be executed at runtime, and then look at what the report should look like. So we can see here it says, and you need to read the whole section first. That will give you a good mental image of what it is you're going to be doing. So from here, I can see I'm going to be sorting things by group code by HC00. So I'm going to be filtering that data on group code and on the YOB 1975 or later. Next, it says I want to show only these fields in this order. In this order with the data labels displayed default, do not group the data. And then sorts the data into descending order of YOB. So I'm going to select that there. And then the rest of this, if you read carefully, this is just to do with the report. We'll come back to this when we start the report after we created the query. So it has a page orientation, single page, the title, so on and so forth. So the first thing is, let's generate the query. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start a new query, and I'm going to add all these fields in here, group code, last name, and the rest of those. So from my database, I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to generate a query design. Now, if you have any windows, so if you don't have this add tables here, you can simply right click here and choose show table, and we're going to add the 2 tables. If we look carefully, we only want to do this from the results and start times tables only. So we're going to add the results, double click, and the start times. And if you add another one by accident, you can just select it and press delete on your keyboard. If you add the table that you don't want, again, you can select it and press delete on your keyboard. Only leave the tables that it asks you to use. Now then, I'm going to go and add the fields as it says, so group code, and then I want last name, first name, YOB, so last name, first name. I'm simply double clicking on these and it's adding them at the bottom. Status, race, time, and event rank. So status, race, time, and event rank. So just count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll put there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields. Perfect. Okay, so now the next step is to do the criteria. So if I have a quick look over here, I want by group code HC00 and YOB 1975 or later. So I'm going to go to group code. Let's just have a look at the data first, make sure I'm not getting any errors. That's fine. I can see the group code. I've got these codes here. All right, so let's go back to group code. For the criteria, I'm going to put HC00. And before I do the other criteria on YOB, I'm going to go have a look at the data, make sure it's worked, and I'm not getting any errors. And I can see this criteria is only now showing HC00. So I don't have any errors. You don't want to do all the criteria in one go, because if something goes wrong, you don't know which one has caused the error. Now, YOB 1975 or later, let's go have a look at the date field to see what format it's in. So there it, so it's just the year, and that's fine. So it doesn't have, let's say, the year, the month, and the day. And that's really important because then you have to add that in the criteria. It's just the year. So for the year, I want greater than, equal to 1975. And if I was to get an error now when I run this, that means my error is with this criteria which I'm putting here, because I've tested this one and it's correct. So if I run this now, there we go. The year is 1975 or greater, and the group code is HC00. So let's save our query. I'm going to call this is question 20, so I'm going to call this Q20. Q can stand for your question or the query, but the 20 is for the question. That will help you know which query is for which question. I'm going to close this now, and we're going to start working on the report. So I'm going to go to create, report, and this time I'm going to use my report wizard. I'm going to choose my query, so that's where the Q20 comes in. I'm going to add all my fields, go to next. I don't want any grouping. You can see here, this is group. It's going to have the group code, and underneath that group code, it's going to have the other fields. I don't want that, so I'm going to choose this one here. I'm going to go by the results table. Next, this is if you want to group on based on something else instead of the table, let's say on the YOB. Again, if I add that, I don't want grouping because we have the YOB at the top and all the other fields underneath. It said no grouping, so I'm going to remove that. Just leave that like that. and then go to next. It said descending order of YOB, so YOB, and choose descending, and then next. Portrait, and yep, it's a tabular report as it said at the top. So I'm just going to go to next and then finish. Now I could put the title of my report here. I won't do it now. We'll modify it in the design view. Click on finish, and there's a preview of my report. And I can see some of these numbers here, they're not displayed in full, so it's put in the hash symbol there because it's a number and you can't display the whole number. So I'm going to need to format this report. So let's close this print preview. And now we're in the design view. So the first thing that we see is that when I go here, I can see that my fields are not in the order it asked me, even though I did add them in that order. So I'm just going to shuffle these around. I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first one should be group code, and that's this one here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the YOB out the way. I'm going to click here and just drag a little square on both of these, the title and the field, and I'm going to just move this out the way like that. Now I'm going to draw a little square over the group code, and I'm going to drag that over to the left, releasing my YOB. And I don't want the YOB. The YOB is going to be a bit later on, so I'm just going to drag this all the way down here. I don't need it for now. So after that, I want last name, first name, YOB. So I'm going to do that and drag these two over. Okay, now I'm going to run to see how much space it takes. So you can see the group code has got a big gap. I don't need that big gap. So I'm just going to make that group code, just draw a little square over that and just make that a bit smaller. Bring the last name and the first name over. That's going to give me more space for the other ones on the right. My YOB, I'm going to drag that over here. Just make that just a tad bigger. Let's have a quick look. Okay, that's looking okay. I'll just scroll down, make sure you're not getting anything being chopped off. That's fine. And go back to design view. My first name can go a bit smaller here. I'm just using the control button here for multiple selections instead of a square. There we go. Then I'm going to take my status, bring that over. Now the status, I think, is a small field. Yeah, I can make that quite a bit smaller, can't I? So let's just make that a bit smaller. I'm going to take my race time, make that a bit bigger there to make it fit. And I'm just going to drag that one over here as well. Okay, let's just have a quick look. Now you can see my event rank here. I'm chopping the E off straight away. I need to go fix that. Let's just bring all of this a little bit over. Make that just a little bit bigger. There we go. And now we double check nothing is being chopped off, especially the names at the bottom. You really need to be careful on these ones. Everything looks fine. Let's go to our question paper. So we've done that. Page orientation, portrait, yes. Fits on a single page wide, yes. Includes this title. So I'm just going to copy paste that title. All right, Control C, and now I'm going to go back to here, go back to the design view, and I'm going to put the title up here. Just going to stretch that out. I know I didn't copy the S, so I'm going to type that in and then Control it. So there's my title. Displayed in a larger font size, fully visible at the top of the page. It is. Calculates the number. So here we go. Let's just go back here. So here we need to calculate the number of database records shown in this report and places this at the end of the report, fully visible and formatted to 0 decimal places. Okay, that's important. So we want that as 0 decimal places. Has the label number of cyclists fully visible to the left and has your name, center number and candidate number on the report. I'm going to do this one first. So going back to my database, I'm going to go to, let's close that property for now. I'll just make it smaller at least. Okay, so down here in the page footer, this is where everything will appear on every page of the report. So if your report is 50 pages long, then it's going to have whatever you put in the page footer there. I'm going to delete these little add-ins here. Just get rid of those. I'm going to add a label, not a text box. Okay, a label, and it wants this visible in the report. So I'm just going to put this on the right, put my details in there. Okay, so I've done that, but I could just leave that there. I could actually just format that and bring that over to the right. There we go. You don't have to. And then now what I want to do, I want to add at the bottom a count of all the records. So it calculates the number of database records shown in this report and places this at the end of the report. fully visible and formatted to 0 decimal places. So I just want to count. I'm just going to right click on any one of these fields. It doesn't matter. If I wanted to do an addition, if I wanted to sum up, let's say all the race times, or if there was a number here, then I would right click on that particular one, go to totals, and I can do sum, I can do this, that, the other. But because I can't sum this field, the only ones I'm getting now is count records or count values. And you can do this on any one of these. Okay, so I'm just going to go total count records, and that's going to give you the count function here. At the end of the report, fully shown in the short, and it just wants it at the end of the report. So this is the report footer. It's put it for you automatically. It doesn't matter where. If I run this report now and I go to the bottom, you can see there's my count of the records there. And it wants it to 0 decimal places. It is, but if you wanted to double check that, you can just go over here, go to format, and from here, oh, well, sorry, we want to go decimal places. I'm going to put that to 0. Okay, it's a count, so it's going to be 0 decimal places anyway. But just for argument's sake, that's where you would do that. And I want to add a label next to that, so I'm going to put the label to the left, it said, and that should be, if we go over here, back to the question paper, I want that to be a number of cyclists. So let's go back, just type that in there. Number of cyclists. Again, small letters, capital letters, exactly as it's displayed. Okay, and again, you could just make that a bit smaller to bring it over there. And now I can go to view, and there's my report. Okay, number of cyclists, 32, my details on the bottom. Okay, then it says, place in the evidence document a screenshot showing the database formula used to calculate the number of cyclists. So go to design view, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this function here. So I'm just going to do a quick screenshot here, new. I'm just going to take that bit there, go to my evidence, go to the next one down here, and just place that there. Okay, that's 21 done. Okay, save and print your report. So if I run this report, I can save it and I can print it. Okay, so from here, all I have to do is just go to file, print, and it will print that report for me. Perfect. All right, let's go to, I can close this report now, and we can move on to the next one. Okay, so this next exercise, number 21, we've got another report, which means we need to create another query. So let's start seeing what we have to do. So first thing is it says use fields from results table and the cat codes tables to produce the report. Now select the records where the club name is power. So we're going to have wildcards here because we're going to have the command like. It needs to include the text power. The status does not include DNF or DNS. So that's going to be an AND statement. We're going to have to be careful about this. And here we can see we're going to be generating a new field called time per kilometers, calculate at runtime. And this field will calculate the race time divided by the race distance of 50 kilometers. So whatever the race time is divided by 50, and we need to format that using the time format. Shows only the fields, these fields here in that order, and do not group the data. Right, then it says sort the data into ascending order of club name. So this is going to be part of the report. So let's get started with the query first. So I'm over here. I'm going to go to create query design. And if let's say we didn't have these open, I'm just going to right click, show table, go to my tables, add cat codes and results. These are the two tables it wanted. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to create my new field first, this time per kilometer, so I can get this out of the way, because it's a little bit more complex. And if something goes wrong and I've done all the work and then that doesn't work, then I've got to do everything again. So let's just make sure this more tricky part works first. So I'm going to right click, click away, and then right click on this field, build. I'm going to go to my tables, I want results. That's the one that's got the race time. There it is there. So I'm going to double click on race time. I'm going to divide that by 50. Click OK. Now I'm going to give you a little tip here. Don't run this yet. First of all, right click, edit the properties so you can format it first, because sometimes you won't see all the properties. If you run this query before you actually set the formatting, you might not get the time format. So we want long time, this one here. And I'm also going to change the expression one. I'm going to put the correct title and the correct title. And now remember, do not delete that colon, the 2 dots next to my insertion point here. If you do, you'll come up with errors, because that's what indicates where the title ends. So I'm going to type time underscore per and km underscore km. Remember, field names don't have spaces. So that's correct. Now that I've done all of this, I'm going to run this to see if it works. And there we go. I've got my time per kilometer, and I've also got the correct format. Now I'm going to go and add everything else in. So I need the race number. That's, where is it? Race number here. I want first name, last name, cat rank. So first name, last name, cat rank. Club name, category status, club name, categories over here, status, and time per kilometer and race time. So the time per kilometer we already put, race time I need. So I'm just going to close these to save some space. And there's all the fields I want. And I can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I should have 9 fields it's asking me to display. Before I do anything else, I'm going to click on run. There you go. Everything works. No errors. I'm going to continue. In fact, I'm also going to save this just in case. I'm going to save this query as Q21. This is question 21. And now move on. So the next step that I want to look at is the criteria. So I want club name includes text power. Let's go back. So if I run this first and I look at the club name, I'm just going to expand that a bit. So you can see here, where are we? Do we have anything where it says the word power? Here, it's got the word power at the end. Here, it's got the word power at the beginning. Okay, so we can't just do a filter on word power, because it would mean it will only find the ones where the field name is just the word power. That's not what we want. So for the club name, which is here in the criteria, I'm going to type like, and I'm going to use a wildcard. Anything at the beginning, that's the asterisk, then it has to have the word power and then asterisk. And it's going to, Axis is going to do the formatting for you automatically. So as soon as I click away, can you see it's done that for me? It's capitalized the like. This means it's recognized what I'm doing. And now when I run, I will only see everything which has the word power included. And you can see here power cycles. And it's also got here empowerment. So it's going to include that in there as well, isn't it? Now, if you didn't want the word empowerment included, then that would be a tricky one. You'd have to do something, let's say, with the space. Okay, so you'd have to have like space power or power space. But I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to hope that's correct. But here I've included everything that includes power. I don't think they'll do something that sneaky. The next one, so that's worked. I'm going to go back. The next one is going to be the status does not include DNF or DNS. So status, if I just run this, let's have a look at the status. And the status, you can see it's this 3-letter code. You've got DNF and DNS. So we want the ones that do not include those. So there's 2 ways of doing this. The one way is to use the not equal to. So I'm going to do not equal to speech marks, DNF, speech marks. Then I'm going to put the command, the logic command, and I'm going to write it in small letters, because if it recognizes it, it should capitalize it for me. And then not equal to speech marks, DNS, speech. Was that correct? Yes, DNF and DNS. So let's see if this has worked. Run. Yep, there you go. It doesn't have any DNF or DNS in there. The other way you can do this, and just so I can make sure I show you everything that I can possibly show you, is using the not command. So instead of not equal symbol, you can actually just use the command not. Okay, and delete that and not. If you click away, it should recognize it. Yep, there you go. And if I run this, again, exactly the same thing. So you can either use the word not, or you can use the symbol for not equal to, which is the less than, greater than symbol together. All right, next part of our question. So we've done that. We've done all of this. We don't want to group the data. We've done the criteria. Sorts data into ascending order of club name. So ascending of club name and ascending order of cat rank. So this is going to be part of the report. So all I have to do now is just click on save. I'm just going to close this. You want to save yes. My query is there. I'm going to now create report wizard. I'm going to choose my correct query. Can you see how this helps now? I want the query for question 21. There you go. And I'm just going to add these in the order it wants me to, although I'm going to have to change them again like before. But doesn't matter. Race number, first name, last name. Race number, first name, last name, cat rank, club name, category status. Then it wants this one, and then the last one, race time. This just keeps my mind thinking that I've got to keep adding things in the right order. It doesn't want any grouping, so that's correct. I don't want to group by this table. I want no grouping. And again, I don't want to add any grouping on any field. Then I want ascending order of club name. So first by club name. So sorts data into ascending order club name and ascending order of cat rank. So next is going to be cat rank. Again, ascending order. Next, page orientation is landscape. Tabular report, it said. Single page wide, includes the title. I'm going to add the title straight away this time. So up here, this time I'm going to add the title in here, just so we can show all the ways we can do things, or most of them. Power Club, remember, small letters, capital letters, as written on the paper. Power Club results, preview the report, finish. Right, so we can see my title's been added. I'm going to have to move these around a bit. I'm going to have to shuffle all of this just to make it fit properly. I'm going to probably fast forward this section while I'm doing this, so you should be able to see me doing this, but a bit faster. The first step, close that print preview, go to my design view, and now I'm going to be sorting this out. Okay, so I've done that. If you're watching carefully, I did change the club name. I changed the distance, and then when I scrolled down, I could see some of these long ones here were being chopped off. So I had to increase the width. Be very careful. You probably noticed I was going backwards and forwards every time I made a change, just to make sure nothing is being cut off. It's very important because you don't want to lose silly marks. Okay, so that report is now finished. I now need to go to, so I've done that. A single page right includes that. We've done that. So I want, has your name, center number, and candidate number in the footer of the report. So it appears on every page. Okay. So again, we're going to go to our design view. Jump over here. So design view, I'm going to go to the page footer, delete these here, and just go to a label. And where does it say your name, center number, candidate number in the footer of the report? So it appears on every, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it on the left-hand side this time. Okay. And oh, did I put the N in there? Nope. Okay. Just to quickly double check that I've done everything. So contains new fields, shows the fields, it sorts the data, hatch page orientation, single page wide. The title fully visible at the top of the page, your name, center number, footer, so it appears in there. Placing your evidence document screenshot showing the database search criteria used to select the records where status does not include DNF or DNS. So that was part of the query. So anyway, this report is finished. Save and print your report, it says. So let's just go back. So I would save that. So I'm going to go back, click on save, and you would print this report. So what I need to do now is to open my query again, this query here, go to design view, and I want to take a screenshot of this. So new, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that there and put that in my evidence document. So that answer, so it's 21. Have I missed one somewhere? That was 20. Ah, yes, I know what I've done. So let me just add this here. There. This one, Control X, should be up here. These two together. Okay, this is where my relational databases, relationships were. And then step 20. Was the count function X, and then 21 is this one. Okay, so again, be very careful. I'm trying to rush this through, that the numbers of the evidence matches what you've got there. They will still mark it, but it just makes it easier for the examiner. So do a quick save on that, and I think that report is finished. Yay! Okay, so you can see already this has taken quite a long time to do just the Word and the Access. And now we've got a PowerPoint presentation. So let's get started with the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just going to go back to my database. I'm going to close this, save everything, close that. And here is my folder. And let's see the question paper. So it says you're going to create a short presentation. All slides must have a consistent layout and formatting. Create a presentation of 6 slides using the file that. Unless otherwise instructed, the slides must display a title and bulleted list. So let's do this first. So I'm going to go back here, right click, new, PowerPoint presentation. There it is there. I'm just going to give it my name there. Oops. Did I open that? No, there we go. Let's just give it the name, NP. You don't have to give it the name. Just gives you a bit of pride of your work, I suppose. If it doesn't ask you to, you don't have to. I'm going to open up my PowerPoint. There it is there, a blank PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going to import the file J2321 Scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here where it says new slide. I'm going to go to slides from outline, go to my folder, and this one here, and it will import. Now, because I clicked on the first slide, it actually added this blank slide. I did that on purpose, so you can see if you do this, you just need to delete that blank slide. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to delete that slide. So you should only create 6 slides. We can see each of them are with a title and bullets only as requested. So next, use a master slide to display only the following features: automated slide numbers on the top right, your name, center number, and candidate number on the bottom left, a 3 to 4 point wide horizontal line about 3 centimeters from the bottom of the slide above your details and across the full width of the slide. Make sure that the master slide items appear in the same position on every slide. No items overlap. Okay, so let's just go to the PowerPoint. So from here, I'm going to go to View. I'm going to open up Slide Master, and I need to be very careful. A slide master contains many layouts. All of these layouts, we see these layouts when we are here. So if I just go to normal, all of these layouts are here. You see all of these different layouts, and all of these are in the slide master. So when you go to the view, the slide master, you want to make sure you go all the way to the top and change this one. Anything you change on this one here will affect all of the layouts. If you choose one, if one of the layouts is selected, any changes you make will only be applied to this particular layout. So I'm going to go to the very first one at the top, and I'm going to begin. First of all, automated slide number on the top right. I'm going to show you the method that I use and the one which is probably out of experience, what has worked best for me and my students. So I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Text Box. I'm going to draw a text box in the top right corner here. And then from the Insert section here, now my window is zoomed in, so it's easier for you guys to see. So my insert page number is quite small here, my slide number. So I'm just going to click on that, and that's going to add that there. So that's top right corner. Then I want your name, center number, and candidate number on the bottom left. Now at the bottom you get these placeholders here. I'm just going to get rid of all these. I don't need these. As I said, I don't use these. I create everything using text boxes. Again, I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to add a text box on the bottom left. I'm going to write my details. Okay, and then a 3 to 4 point wide horizontal line about 3 centimeters from the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to just click away. I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to choose a shape. I'm going to choose a line. Not an arrow. I want a line. And I'm going to go back 3 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, round about here. And I'm going to draw. Now, to make sure I go straight, I'm going to hold the shift button. As soon as I hold the shift button down, it makes sure that my line is straight horizontally. Let go. And then with this line selected, I get the shape format ribbon at the top. And from that shape format ribbon, I can now modify the shape outline. I'm going to change the weight to 3, because it said 3 to 4. And I'm also going to change the color to black, because I'm not going to be printing in color anyway. Okay, make sure that the master slide item. So now I can go to view, go to normal. And there we go. I'm just going to make sure none of these things, like the numbers and everything and the lines, are not overlapping anything. Like this one here, you can see this line is not over that writing. Great. Let's move on. Number 24. Format the first slide so that a title slide is applied with no bullets. The title and subtitle text are center aligned and in the middle of the slide. So if we go back. So the first one here, and this is where our layouts come in. So this very first one, I'm going to choose layout. I'm going to choose a title slide. That's center aligned. Perfect. I don't need this designer, so I can just close that. Okay, so number 25 basically says, use the data in J2321 winners.csv to create a pie chart to compare the number of race wins by each group. So we first want to open this file here, have a look at that. So let's jump over here. I'm going to go to my files, open J2321 winners in Excel. There we go. And I'm just going to expand these here so I can have a look at the data. So first thing I can see, I've got the year as text and this as a number, and then total as a text and that as a number. So if I was to select this, automatically what it's going to do, the first error that I'm going to spot here is this. It's going to use the year as a category and the total as well. And we don't want that. And that it does that because this is actually a number and so is this one. So we need to make sure we're careful about what we're selecting. Here's the data that we want. We only want to compare the number of race wins by each group. So these are the groups, these are the race wins. Okay, so we're going to go to insert. I'm going to go to pie chart. And now what I want to do is go have a look at the different things that it wants me to add. So let's just jump over here. So label the pie chart with percentage wins by group. So I'm just going to copy that, Control C, go back, modify my title, and paste that in there or type it in. Let's go to the next one. Then I want to format the chart to display only group names and percentages as sector labels. So I only want the group names and the percentages as sector labels. Position these labels outside each chart sector. Display the percentage values to 1 decimal place. Do not display a legend. Okay, so let's go back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to drag this over here a bit. So first of all, I don't want that legend. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to remove the legend. Next, I want to add data labels. So I'm going to select this here. I'm going to choose data labels. I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to go to more options. That's going to open this area here. So you can have a look at these. Now it gets a little bit difficult navigating this area here, but sooner or later you will find it. Just jump through these different categories. It's got the fill colors. It's got all these like effects. Here's where your data is for the chart. I'm going to go to label options and I'm going to get rid of that. I want the percentage. I don't want those lines. I don't want the value and I want the category name. Okay, so there we go. Just choose the ones that you want. And I also want these to be on the outside. So here we go, label position outside. There we go. And the numbers I want to 1 decimal place. So I'm going to go down with all of these selected still. I'm going to go to number, go down, category, I want it percentage, and decimal places, I want 1. That's 1 decimal place. Did that work? Yay, there you go. Okay, so there's my chart. As I said, I've got a tutorial on charts. Charts is a big thing when it comes to the new syllabus. So make sure you watch that tutorial. I'll put it in the links in the description, all about charts and the different things that you can do. So that's that. Let's just go see what it wants us to do now. Emphasize the group with the largest percentage by pulling only this sector away from the other groups. So let's go here. So to do this, I'm going to click 1 time in my chart area. I'm going to click again. Can you see here? It's selected all of these pieces. If I just drag now, it's going to move all of them. I don't want that. So I'm going to click again, and just make sure only this one here is selected. So let's do that again. So if let me just undo, bring it back to where it was. Oh, I've gone too far. So I'm going to click on my pie chart, and I'm going to click again on this piece, so only this piece is selected, and just drag that one out. There we go. And then I want to add this. It says, place the chart to the right of the bullets on the slide title, Scratch Group Cyclist. Make sure that no words are split, all the data and labels are fully visible, the chart and its contents do not overlap. So I'm going to copy paste this in now. So right click. No, actually, it's just Control C to copy. Go to my PowerPoint presentation, go to Scratch Group Cyclists. I'm going to select this and just drag this over to the right, like that. And I'm going to paste my chart in here. I'm going to make my chart nice and big as I can. There we go, without overlapping. And I don't want to do this. I don't want this to go over this black line. I'd lose a mark for that. There we go. That's good enough. And just make sure that no words here are split, hyphenated here. So nothing is split. That looks good. Okay, add the following text as presenter speaker notes to the slide with the Scratch Group Cyclists. Okay, so that's the text. I'm just going to copy this to save time. And print only the slide as presenter speaker notes in this portrait orientation. Okay, so let's go back. So the speaker notes and the presenter notes, at the bottom of the slide, you've got this area here. Click to add notes. You can paste it in here. Now, if you don't have that and you don't know how, if you don't see that, or if it's not available to you, you can go to View, and from here you've got Notes Master, and there it is. Oh, no, sorry, not Notes Master. We want Notes. So View, we want Notes Page. There it is. You can click and paste that information there. And now I can go back to View. Normal, you see it's down here. So we want to print this in a portrait, just this slide. So with this slide selected, I'm going to go to File, Print. I'm going to choose, I'm just going to leave my PDF printer there. Not all slides. I want the current slide. So only this slide here. And I don't want to print it in a landscape. So I don't want full page slide. I'm going to choose the notes page, and that's going to change it to portrait with my notes at the bottom, and I print it to my printer. That's it. What else do I need to do? On the slide with handicaps format, so on the slide with handicaps, format the text race director, okay, so that when click, it opens an email editor ready to send a message to this here. Let's see if I can copy that email. It'll be a bit tricky. Okay, I've got a little bit more, but we'll see if that works. So to do this with the subject line race handicaps. Okay, so I want to go to race director on handicaps page. So let's go back. So we're going to go to the handicaps page here with this here. I want this one here, race director. So I'm going to select this, and I want to make that a hyperlink. Now, the easiest way is simply to right click, or you can go to the insert as I did here and go to link. I'm just going to go to right click on that selection, click on link. The email address, I'm going to paste it there. Okay, I managed to get that there. I'm not going to put the mail to. I'm just going to put, because I copy pasted it. So why don't I just type it out just to be safe? RD, so it puts the mail to for you automatically at Cambridge. No. Now you can see you can actually link to a new document, a place in this document or existing file. We've actually got the email address here, and that's why I'm able to put that email address, and that's why it automatically puts the mail to for me. The subject, it wants a subject race handicaps. So I'm just going to type that in the subject, race handicaps. Okay, with the capital. Placing your evidence document a screenshot showing the link, text, email address, and subject. So the text to display is that one. Okay, I'm just going to click on OK, so it applies that. There it is. You can see that's applied. Now I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to do edit link, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that. So I've got my subject. There's my link there. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. That shows me the link, shows me the page, shows me everything, and I'm going to go add that at the bottom. This is evidence 31 correct. Put that in there. Just leave it nice and big so that small text can be readable. You've got the page, you've got the link, and you've got everything there. Okay, let's go back. I think we're done. Placing your evidence, we've done that. Save the presentation, print the full presentation as handouts in portrait orientation with 2 slides to each page, filling half the page. Okay, so that's, and I'm showing the printing techniques here because PowerPoint does have quite a few printing options that you need. So I'm going to go to File, Print, and from here, I'm just going to choose the printer you want. And this time, I don't want the current slide, I want all slides and not the notes page. I want 2 slides per page, and that's going to be portrait, and it will automatically do it for you, half a page for each one. And you will print that. Great. And then finally, printing the evidence document. So save your evidence document and print your evidence document. And we are finished. Wow, what a long paper. Do you see what I mean by paper 2 is a really heavy paper? There's just so much work to do in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, because I had to explain a lot of things in this video tutorial to give you a really good in-depth full tutorial, it went on a bit longer, but you need to keep a track of your time. If you get stuck on one thing, look how many marks it is, move on to the next. If you've got time at the end, go back to it. But with paper 2, not many students have got time to go back and double check everything or go back to problems they had. So work methodically, keep your eye on the time, and you'll be fine. Last tip, make sure you're highlighting on the question paper like I was doing here, all the important things. So if you do have time at the end, you go through the question paper and see if everything it's asked you to do, you can actually see in the printouts. Not if you can see it in the digital version. The examiners don't get the digital copy of your work. They only get the printouts. If you are doing the exam and you're using this tutorial to help you study, make sure you come back and tell us how you did in the exam. It'd be really interesting to find out. And if these tutorials helped you. Take care. Goodbye. I'll see you again in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.